issues. Yeah, having introduced them, I'd like to let the public know that our topic once again is how advertising, publications, and presentation skill enhance public relations. These have been brought about to let the society know when it's appropriate to use advertisers, when it's appropriate to use publications, when it's appropriate to now have the whole gamut embodied under the process of public relations. And Pastor Dare Folani, I'd like to begin by you coming up with the differences and similarities between advertising and public relations.
Well, PR is predates advertising. You know, I'll take you to the Bible. When God gave Moses a PR practitioner in the person of Aaron, you know, he was the one God asked to assist Moses in his assignment, in his divine assignment. So public relations is like what a cook will use in projecting the image of an organization, a person, an individual. And the PR practitioner, the PR manager now, will make use of advertising to pass on his messages, his values, his whatever information that he needs. And you know, in the early ages, it was the town crier. Okay. You know, the town crier was broadcast. You know, they would go, they go, and then they will go. They will communicate.
That was in the olden days.
In the olden days. So now later we had the Industrial Revolution. Okay. Then we had print. Okay. Then we had broadcast. You know, in that order. And right now, you know, we've gone digital. We have the information superhighway. So now at the snap of your finger, you can communicate. You can do anything you want to do. You can project. And, you know, advertising will now help you to better communicate the message, you know, pictorially, visually, and then even with sound, you know, sing-along abilities. I still recollect vividly some of the adverts that I used to enjoy when I was young, you know. Okay. But for the sake of, I will not.
Okay. Let me not mention. We have so many of them, and even people are coming of age, coming up with different new styles, new genres of advertising, and a lot has happened. Thank you very much, Pastor Folani. Well, Shuku Majones, why have you taken it upon yourself to train young ones in the art of understanding advertising, public relations?
Thank you so much. I would like to state this. My first encounter with a student, I asked him a simple question. I said, that woman hawking bread on the street shouting, Ewara bread, what is she doing? The guy replied me, he said, the woman is advertising. I said, wait, advertising? What do you mean? He said, advertising is Kiyomakolowo. Advertising is not that. What that lady is doing is probably called salesmanship. The concept of advertising goes beyond just promoting goods the way you think it should be. Advertising is controlled, it is measured. Every statement, every communication, every idea you project is tailored towards ensuring that you appropriately persuade your consumers or your audience. And there's something else about advertising, it is paid for. That woman who was hawking was just saying it on her own. Nobody paid her. She's probably doing it as a means of promoting her goods. But when you call it advertising, it has to go through the mass media. It has to be paid for. Every message must be directed not to all the audience, but a targeted and specific audience. So I found that I needed to reorientate them about the concept of advertising and public relations. Because in public relations, we need to work on image. And when you talk about building the image, you have to focus on various strategies.
Okay, the strategy that the woman applied, do you now call it advertising or public relations?
I told the student that it is an aspect of promotion, which I call salesmanship. It is personal. Salesmanship is personal. It is one-on-one. It does not make it of the mass media.
Of course, I know that there are many promotional
Strategies or tools, yes.
Advertising is a tool.
Yes.
Personal selling is a
Is
tool.
one, yes.
And so many other ones. These are the instruments we use in public relations to now have a wholesome approach to passing a message and engendering support and acceptance. Well, if you just said that that public hawker didn't advertise, how will you consider that woman to have presented that bread to the public? How will you consider it?
Just like my learned colleague has said, what the woman did is salesmanship, because salesmanship is like a fraction of advertisement. It's like a fraction.
So you agree it's still advertising?
It involves personal selling, one-on-one. Advertisement has a broader approach, because if you want to say something is advertisement, it must have gone through the mass media and with a view of targeting a particular audience. And
does it necessarily have to go through the mass media?
Well,
Pastor,
maybe we need
semantics.
to.
You want an action initiated. You know, the action is for the person to buy your goods, and that has been done, achieved.
I still believe that it is still that misconception we have. I've seen people who call themselves.
I'm coming back to you, but I want.
I see people who call themselves social media influencers. Okay. Yes, let me use that word. Social media influencers. They'll tell you that allow me advertise your products using my Twitter account. I tell them that what you are doing to me, I do not call advertising. There's what we call an advertising agency. They are trained individuals, experts, who have been well bred on how to properly package creatively a message. In advertising, I believe that the world has that concept that the word advertising is simply just promoting a good and service for the aim of achieving sales. But I tell you that there are many ways you can do it.
I would like to.
Okay, please conclude.
I would like to come in from where you stop. Can we say someone who is a citizen journalist? Can we say that person is a trained journalist? That is where we should balance the equation.
And that person too has a role to play in the society.
Because a citizen journalist does not have the training, does not have the prerequisite of a trained journalist. In that situation, advertisement revolves around three key players: the advertiser, the advertising agency, and the media. Okay. And these three people must work in synergy to achieve the advertising objective. In that situation where this woman we talked about cannot be described, she is the advertiser, the owner of the product, she's the advertising agency, and she's the media. But in advertising profession, these three people must be independent of each other if we are to achieve a solid advertising objective. So we cannot classify her as what she's doing as advertisement per se. That is why we can only regard it as what salesmanship.
Okay, if you look at it from the area of
professionalism,
not even professionalism, area of private ownership, an individual organization or person doing the job of so many, it's retailing.
Yeah.
And it has come on her that he must work for the producer.
Yes.
He must work for himself, and he must connect with the public.
Yeah, that's his
So
media.
in a way, you see, there are levels of advertising. So let us not forget to understand that depending on how big an organization is, then the duty is broadened. For example, you have some companies who only have a one-man PR person. That person will be engaged in advertising, it will be engaged in a journalism, it will be engaged in event management.
The whole mix.
A whole mix of them all will have to be its function. So, but at that level, well, it's a one-man show. But when it comes to professionalism, and that's the level we are talking about now, when you have a big corporate entity and you're able to differentiate, so at that level, you now have somebody who's in charge of advertising. So the question now, Pastor Dari Folari, can an advertiser be accepted to do a whole job of public relations?
Yeah, well, it depends on training. You know, the difference between that woman and the professional is training. So once you are trained in an art, you know, and you are certificated, you know, once if the person goes for training and you know, the NIPR will have a diploma or something, if it goes for the training and you pass, you go for APCON and you pass, yeah, you become certificated.
I'm asking that question because there's a misconception in the public, in the society, particularly when they know that you have an edge in a particular area. It is assumed that you have the general knowledge. So this program is about enlightening the general public that you must be able to delineate the role of an advertiser from that of a journalist, from that of a broad-based public relations professional who has now learned the whole gamut of those activities, that professional mix that you are talking about. And of course, by extension, what does a public relations man does using all those tools?
Okay, you know, the PR person, you know, is the marketing communication executive,
Okay.
who has this broad knowledge.
Okay.
And he makes use of all these tools, you know. He makes use of advertising, be it outdoor, be it media, above the line, below the line. You know, so this person has been trained as a cook. You know, it's like you go to the market to get your ingredients and you mix the thing. Make sure that an organization, the image is perfect. You know, you burnish the image of an organization with all these tools, adverts, whatever you have and everything. But you know, training is key. Training is key. There are quacks out there who are doing the jobs of professionals. You know, we encourage them to come for training. You know, we have all these institutes here in Abeokuta now that can train people. So please go and get certificated rather than just doing so. Go and learn. You know, the greatest room is the room for improvement. So we encourage them, all the quacks who are practicing, to go and learn, get certificated, get registered. And once you are registered, you will see that you will even, you know, learn more, because it is said in the Bible that iron sharpens iron. One man sharpens another. So training, the role of training is key. So we want to encourage people, quacks out there who are doing this thing, get certificated within a few years. Even the same thing with fake journalists, the same thing with citizen journalists. They should also go and learn, get a diploma, and then they will be the better for it.
Beyond even acquiring certificates, I think I want to go back to Shukuma John. What are the challenges that students pursuing public relations courses, advertising courses, what are the challenges that they face?
All right. The first thing I would say here is that most people believe that you can, should I use the word rigmarole, or should I say seek a shorter alternative towards acquiring something. Nobody's ready to go through the stress.
Okay.
They tell you that you are just trying to even convince.
What are those stressful things that you are talking about?
Okay. They could tell you that just trying to convince a client to accept to pitch to have his or her account with the organization is somehow difficult. You could tell them that, okay, go out to the street, go to this particular individual, try to convince him or her that he or she should purchase a product. They'll tell you that, well, I'm tired, I can't even tell him or her they are the way they reply. No, you need patience. You need to be creative. You need to know the words to use. It could be when it comes to a conflict. A conflict could arouse and you are like, okay, as a PR person, try to see how you can resolve this conflict. Then they tell you, what do I do about it? How does it concern me? I'm even tired of all this. They want a short method. They want an easy way out. Nobody wants to learn more. Nobody wants to go through the stress, the ropes again.
Thank you very much.
What about finance? You know, finance is also a constraint.
That's a problem. You see, most of them, most of those people learn that I want that short route, they are ready to bring out money. So we don't want to just acquire a certificate with money without going through the real process of doing it.
On this platform, we'll be talking about the serious ones who are ready to
learn,
to profess this profession, and to acquire that adequate knowledge that will take them to greater heights. Johnson, from the practical side, how much influence have you made in the public concerning this teaching and upgrading of the students?
Like I said earlier, mine is embarking on combining the practical aspect with the theoretical aspect, because I so much believe that there is a thin line between the classroom and the practicing on the field. Because in the classroom, you only learn the theoretical aspect. They tell you PR is this, PR is that. But how do you apply this thing in the real world? And someone who have practiced PR, at least as student union executive or Moshood Abiola, I could remember vividly. I try as much as possible to create every opportunity. Even when there are no events, it is the duty of a PR person to create events that will promote the image of the organization. I could remember one effort that I put in place then. There was a situation where a lady saw a sum of 20,000 naira on campus, and she made efforts to bring it to the student union. Ordinarily, we could say thank you and let her go. But I saw a PR angle to it. And what I did was, we facilitated an award for her, get media coverage, and in that process, she was given several awards in the state. And in the course of that, she was promoting the image of the institution, which I represent as a PR. Ordinarily, a layman will have seen her that, okay, since we have met them together, okay, probably she has been appreciated and that is the end. But a PR professional will look at the benefit of that situation and harness it to promote the image of the organization he or she is representing, which I did. And this is what I try to inculcate in my students, to let them know that PR is all about passion, and you must have the passion for it. You must be committed to promoting the goodwill. You must not just be focused that, okay, I'm representing this organization. If they pay me, fine. If they don't pay, then I find my way. No.
Thank you
must
very
put
much.
effort to ensure that you promote the image of the organization you are representing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that effort, the PR angle that you brought into getting that person noticed. And that singular act has added value to the institution. It has also added value to the person. And it has also preached or sent a message to the public that honesty is good. Yes. And of course, some people have learned some lessons. And I know that lady will be happy. I remember that incident. So kudos to you. But looking at the industrial level now, it is expected that organizations should add value to itself, should add value to the nation, it should add value to the society, and should also add value to the product that it produces or services that it provides. Pastor Folari, how does a PR person, a PR professional, now begin to identify a particular stage that he will need adverts, he will need publications, and he will also have a good presentation?
Yeah, you're talking about the whole PR budget now. You know, you sit down and have an helicopter view of the whole thing.
You said?
And you need an helicopter view of the whole issue. You know, you need to get
not an aeroplane.
you need to get the objective of the brand,
okay,
the brand equity,
okay,
and the brand message.
Okay.
And you need to communicate this. You know, don't forget that the brand promise is also there. Whatever you communicate, your brand must deliver. You know, so, and this is how you now look at, is like you want to travel, you want to look at the quickest way to get to your destination. So you now start, have your plan, you can have a PR press conference, you know. After the press conference, then you go above the line and below the line, you do promotional activities, you do things to drive your brand message, you know, to make sure that you get people to purchase your product, and that will eventually affect the bottom line. So it's the whole enchilada. You need to sit down and plan and look at what you can use. And there are so many channels open to the PR practitioner.
Those channels will continue next week. This is Your Image, a public relations program on television. Please, this program is open up for sponsorship and advert placement. I'd like to also inform you that you can watch this program live on DSTV 260, GoTV 100, StarTimes 113, and of course we are on Facebook. Your Pr-Primus on Facebook, Pr-Primus on Instagram, on YouTube. A weekly edition of this program is uploaded on YouTube. Kindly connect with us. Till next week, when we have a continuation of this program, I want to say thank you for being part of the day.
Always a pleasure to be on Your Image.
Shukuma John, we're glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
I hope next week you'll be part of us.
By God's grace.
Johnson Idu,
It's my pleasure to be on the show, sir.
we would like you to show more exemplary skills of public relations practice when else we meet next week.
No problem, sir.
Thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
To our viewers, we are happy we have made our day today. Join us next week, Thursday, 5 o'clock, to have a continuation of this program. Thank you very much. You are welcome.